So in this video, I'm going to share with you a technique that you can use to improve your memory and to really start to unleash the power of your mind to remember things. And this is actually really useful if you're revising for a test, or if you want to remember addresses, people's names, phone numbers, or if you want to learn a new language. So the first thing you want to know really is you want to understand how the human brain works and what it's actually designed to do. And the thing that the human brain does best is that if you went out hunting, if you went out chasing an animal, or if you were searching for fruits or berries to eat somewhere, then your brain is the one thing that's going to guide you using all the different shapes around you, the trees, the landmarks, and it's going to guide you all the way home. And it does that really, really well. So fast forward to today, where we have to learn things that are written down on paper. We're looking at words that are written down and we're trying to memorize this. That's how we take information. Doing that works to an extent. We can still remember things and we can still learn things, but we're not really making the most of the power that's in our minds. And to really do that, what we need to do is we need to start including imagery and pictures and those kind of vivid colors into our learning. And by doing that, we start to really engage more of our brain in the remembering process, and it's just going to make your memory so much more powerful. So as an example, here in the UK we have what's called a postcode. So every single house, every single building in the UK has an address, and that address has a postcode attached to it. And the way a postcode works is that it's a set of letters, then numbers, and then letters. So if I had to make a random postcode, I could say it would be something like WS108PE. So that would be Whiskey Sierra 10 8 Papa Echo. So how would you remember this? How would you create a story to remember this? So you could say something like we stopped and we turned around and there were 8 people standing behind us. So in this story, just imagine yourself walking down the street with someone, and then you say that we suddenly stopped, we turned around, and there were 8 people behind us. So you've got the W, which is we, the S, which is stopped, the 10 is as in turning around, then you've got 8, so there were 8 people behind us, and the P, E, the P and the E is just people. So you can use people to remember P and E. It's up to you how you do it. And that's a much easier way to remember a postcode, because if you had to write it down by hand, maybe, and try to remember just the letters and the characters, it's going to be really hard. I guarantee that if I told this postcode to you today and you could remember it for about an hour, by tomorrow you would have forgotten it. And even if you wrote it down maybe 30-40 times, in about 2 weeks time, it's still going to be pretty hard for you to remember it. Whereas if you have a sort of like a story like this, then you'd have to try really hard to try and forget that story and forget the actual postcode. So that's the first example. The second example is, let's say you're trying to learn a language. So recently, I've been trying to learn a bit of Dutch, which is what they speak in the Netherlands and in Holland. So one of the words in Dutch, which is it's a bit hard for English speakers to say, is please. And how do you say please in Dutch? Or it's alstublieft. Alstublieft. So if you're thinking, okay, that's a bit hard. How do I even remember that? And a story that you can use to remember this is if you imagine someone who's running for the lift or elevator in America. So if someone's running for the lift, they're saying, please, please stop the lift. Someone, please, please stop the lift. And a guy steps up and says, I'll stop the lift. And that little story, because it's so vivid, it actually helps you to remember that word and even helps you to pronounce it. Because if you just imagine someone saying, I'll stop the lift, but if they say it's an I'll stop lift, it sounds almost identical to alstublieft in Dutch. And the good thing about this story is that it's got two elements to it, which is pretty much all you need for learning a language like Dutch. So it's got the first element, which is the word in English. So you've got please, as in someone saying, please, please stop the lift, please stop the lift. So you know the English word is please. And the second element is how you say the word in Dutch. And you've got that image of someone saying, I'll stop lift, I'll stop lift. And you just know how to say the word in Dutch, alstublieft. And for a language like Dutch, that's all you need, really. If you wanted to go deeper and include more elements, that would be if you're learning something more complicated. Let's say if you're learning Chinese, for example, or Japanese. So in Chinese, you need about 4 elements to include into your story. So the first element would be the word in English, and your second element would be how to say the word in Chinese. The third element would be the tone of the word in Chinese, whether that's a flat tone, a rising tone, a sharp falling tone. And the fourth element you need if you were learning Chinese would be how to write the character, how to write the Chinese character. So you need to come up with a story that includes all 4 elements. And the more vivid and the more rich the imagery is in your story, the easier it's going to be to remember the whole story. And this technique can be used for anything, literally anything. You can use this if you were learning biology, engineering, if you were learning a string of numbers, literally anything you want to do. And you can go as deep as you want to when you're using this technique. But it's been one of the most useful ways that I've found of being able to use my memory more effectively. And now that you know how to do it, you can go out there and remember some stuff. And that's about it, really. Thank you for watching.